Hey guys, if you're watching this, that means you've picked up the greatest PvPvE extraction fantasy game of the future. The goal of this video is to show you how to start your journey as soon as possible to enjoy the game and all of the depths that it has to offer sooner rather than later. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to obviously select a class. There are currently 5 different classes to choose from. Each one has a very distinct playstyle and set of skills that you can use. It is very much like the WoWs of the world in terms of experience of play. So if you're familiar with that, you'll really get used to these characters relatively easy. Once you select the class that you're looking to play, it's going to ask you to make a house name first, and what your house name is the identification that your account has from now until the end of time. So whenever your character is killed and or you kill somebody, your house name will appear on their screen as well as yours. Now, your character name is different. Your character name is the name that you can give your specific character. That is different from your house name, so you can essentially have 2 identities. Character names can be changed currently for free, but it also is subject to change in the future. But you can make your name whatever you would like. And then you are in the game officially. The thing that I do when I start Legacy, Steel, and Sorcery is I go to my quests, and the very first quest of the campaign is where you're going to want to start. This is a short introduction to the game and gives you an idea on how to progress certain aspects of the game that you'll learn. The first quest is going to be to complete the tutorial. So in order to complete the tutorial, you're going to want to go back up to Adventure and click the map down here and click on the tutorial, and then select the tutorial and then begin your journey. So Legacy is a PvPvE extraction game. There's loot from a lot of different areas in the game. One is going to be from chests, which are all interactable with your interaction key, and as well as mobs. There are different tiers of weapons, like in other style of games. You'll have your junk, your white, your common, your rare, your epic, and legendaries. The object of the tutorial is just kind of show you very briefly your basic attack, block, jump, dodge, the very basics of the game. It's still in progress. It'll get better over time, but it's nice to just have some place that kind of tells you what to do at the beginning. You're eventually just going to run to the very end of the map. If you can see at the very top of the screen, that circle or that square red up there is your extraction. When you're actually playing the game, it's going to show you the extraction as well. That way you never get lost on the map and you always know where you're going. You can loot mobs, and then what we're going to do now is we're going to go extract and move on to the next step. Like in the game, as you're extracting, when you get to the extraction point, it's going to count down from 15 in that time. You have to stay alive. As soon as it hits 0, you will be extracted from the game, and everything that you collected from that specific raid will now go into your inventory so that you can gear up for the next raid and be stronger for the next one. Right, so before we jump into any maps and start looking at the game, there's a couple things that you should know before you start playing that might make the experience a little bit easier for you. If you click on the map device, you'll see that there are 5 different maps, including the tutorial, and I'm just going to go briefly over all of them so you know what to expect out of each of them moving forward and what your goals should be. The first one we're going to go over is Goldbrook. This is a social hub. This is where you can go to practice all of your PvP skills, as well as have a safe place where you don't lose gear and can interact with other people that can teach you how to play your class a little bit better. The skill depth in this game is massive, so the more experience you have on it, the better you're going to be. So it's a really nice place to start if you're going to go into one of these maps and you feel like you just keep getting beat over and over again. Don't be afraid to take a time out, come to Goldbrook, talk to some people playing your class, and learn what to do better for the next time you run into a raid. Alright, and then the other maps that you're going to be looking at here is Greenwood Day, Greenwood Night, and Dawnhammer Crypts. So the differences between these maps are the difficulty of the maps as well as the drops that you get on the maps. Greenwood Day is going to be your entry-level map. There is no requirement to enter this map. You can come in with any type of gear. The mobs are relatively easy. Comparatively, this game has very difficult PvE mobs. If you're dying to PvE, don't let that frustrate you. It's very common. I have over 600 hours in the game, and I still die to PvE. They're very difficult, but once you learn them, you'll get better at it. Once you're done in Greenwood and you have amassed a lot of gear and you're ready to move on to the next place, you're going to go to Greenwood Night. Now, the requirement to get into Greenwood Night is 5 pieces of common, at least, gear. And we'll go more into the gearing in a minute, but it is gatekept by the gear level because the mobs are significantly harder, as well as the difficulty and drops increase as well. The last one is going to be the Crypt, which has an uncommon requirement of 5 pieces of gear. This is currently the highest end map of the game. This is where everybody goes to get the best of the best loot. There are chests in there, as well as super elite mobs, and a bunch of things worth going here for. It is the only map in the game that is required currently to have a mixed party. So you have to have at least 3 people. Not that you can't go in by yourself and try to beat 3 people, but it is recommended when you're first starting to play with 3 people to get the loot in the Crypt. That is a basic overview of when you're just starting the game and the things at a very surface level. Now you're getting ready to go into Greenwood for the first time and you don't know what to do? We're going to give you a goal. Your very first goal of this game should be to go into your lodge and click the research button and unlock everything in here that you can. Every single thing in here has a use for you that will increase the scaling of your account as well as quality of life. For instance, the first thing that you should be looking to do is upgrade your storage chest and your crafting bench as high as you can. The higher your storage chest is, the more actual storage containers that you'll have. So this is a very good goal to target early on to help alleviate some of the pressure that you're going to have on your storage. This game has a lot of items, and every item in this game is currently used for something. So holding on to things until you know what they are used for is probably a good idea right off the bat. So in order to really complement that, I recommend upgrading your storage chest as fast as humanly possible. And as you can see, if you go to research, it tells you the items that you need. Now, some of these items might be pretty obvious in where they come from. Some of them might be a little bit more difficult. We'll have a little bit more in depth on all of those things probably in other videos, or other people might have ideas where they're at. This one is just kind of showing you a direction of where you should be going. So step 1, I would say, upgrade your storage chest. Super important. You're going to need it. There's a lot of items in the game. Second one, update and upgrade your crafting bench. Huge quality of life. There's a lot of things in here for your class that's going to make your life a lot easier. All right, so you just got out of your very first run. You've extracted, and now you have loot. What do you do with your loot? So there's a couple different items that are important to you that will help you obviously level up your character, and using this Forge Lumen Tanner that you already unlocked. So the Forge, for instance, is where you're going to put all of your ores in order to craft the bars. The bars are what you use to craft the items. Up here in this top left, there's this orange bar that you can click that will show you currently all of the items and ores in the game that can go in here. And if you hover over them, it'll actually tell you what the requirements are to do it. So if I want to make a copper bar, it's going to take 2 copper ore. So for every 2 copper ore I put in here, it's going to start making copper bar. As you can see here, the recipe is automatic. It start cooking it for you. The next one is iron bar that you're going to be looking for. And as you can see here, iron takes something different. It's 2 iron ore and 1 charcoal. So for the forge, everything else after copper requires you to use charcoal. And charcoal is something that you get from burning wood inside your fireplace, or you can buy an unlimited amount of them from the armorer. And then you're going to want to put the charcoal inside your forge and start crafting these higher level mats. It can be level 1, and you can craft all of these tiers already. So you're not gated behind leveling up your forge. What leveling up your forge does is it actually increases the number of recipes that you can have cooking at one time. So the higher level it is, the faster you're obviously going to be producing materials. Same thing with the loom. It is the orange little button up here tells you what the crafting options are. 10 linen scraps will create linen cloth. If you want to make the cloud weave cloth, now you have to have fine thread. The fine thread comes from your tailorer. It is also an unlimited resource that you can buy and then put in your loom to create all tiers of your cloth. Now keep in mind, if you look here at the output, I have all of this cloth here. Remember I told you that storage is going to be a point of struggle because every item is used. This is actually a pseudo storage chest. You're more than welcome to keep these things in here permanently. They will not lose You won't lose them, they won't disappear, and you can slowly refill your stock in your main stash whenever you want. You are not required to pull these out until it's full, and then it probably won't craft anymore after that. And for your tanner, it requires these frog oils as well as leather scraps. This is how you make your leather. Same thing up here. It gives you all of your requirements, and this requires frog leather to do the higher end crafts. Frog leather is also bought from the tailor of infinite stacks. You're more than welcome to buy as many of this as you would like, and you would just go back to your lodge and throw it in. And now you are on your way to crafting your first set of gear. Next big thing, after you've amassed a good quantity of materials and items, you're going to want to start running a little bit better gear. So in order to start running a little bit better gear, you have to upgrade that gear or find that gear in raids. It is random in raids, guaranteed out of raids. So the way to guarantee the upgrades is, let's say that I want to make myself a nice new axe, and I currently don't have but a junk one. Step one is you're going to want to go to your weaponsmith, and there's two options here. You can click on the warrior tab, scroll down, and you can spend money to buy one that you think you would like. If you don't have the one here that you want, you can go to craft, and then you can go to the warrior tab again, and you can find the axe or whatever weapon you want to craft. It'll give you the resources down here and how to craft it. So I didn't see a crescent reaver in there. I want to run a crescent reaver. I need 2 copper bars and 2 birch heartwood. You're going to want to craft the item, and then it populates right here. But I've been crafting a lot. I've been doing a lot of things. I'm ready for the green one. So how do I get this upgraded? So what you're going to want to do is go back to the weaponsmith, and instead of hitting craft, you're going to hit upgrade. And then you're going to find that weapon in the list of weapons, and you're going to click on it, and it's going to give you the things required to upgrade it from white to green. You need minor crystal weapons, iron bars, oak heartwood, and a massive femur. And once you have amassed all of these, which we've learned how to get the iron bars, we have not learned how to get the crystals yet, but that'll be next. And massive femurs are just a random drop on, obviously, skeletons, things that have bones, and other places. You'll amass these things over time, and you'll get to learn where they're at. But all you do is you click the upgrade, and as you can see, this white reaver turns into a green one. So now I have a very strong weapon that I can use in raids, and I can beat up all of the folks like I should be. You can also upgrade from greens to blues, and blues to purples, and purples to legendaries. So the scaling on the way that you craft up is massive. There's a lot of potential there, but greens is a really good, healthy starting point for you. If you can get a couple full sets of green gear, you're on the right step to becoming a pro. All right, so as I mentioned, every single piece of gear has something different it requires to make. But the one thing that's going to be consistent with all of them is minor weapon crystals and minor armor crystals, which are these green things. Now, there's a couple ways to get these, but the most consistent way to get them is to be disenchanting. If you go to your enchantress, she has an option on the very far right for disenchanting. If you go to disenchanting and then you want armor crystals, you click on the armor button here, and you can go down the list of all of the armor that you've acquired through your looting. Even if it's not for your class, it's still useful to you by disenchanting it. So if I click on this divinity mantle, it'll tell me what it gives me. It's for a priest. Priests require mostly cloth. So it's going to give me cloudweave scrap and a minor armor crystal. I'm going to disenchant it, and you can see what it gives you. I'm going to do the same thing to the rogue mask, but this is going to give me leather scraps and minor armor crystals. So if you're a class that requires a lot of cloth or a class that requires a lot of leather, you're going to want to pick up gear that is going to give you those types of resources to better help you upgrade your preferred class. And then again, once you have those armor crystals, you can go back to the upgrade option, and you're good to upgrade some more. All right, so in your character inventory, you have a lot of slots over here. Obviously, each one is going to be for a piece of gear. So I can take this green axe I just made, put it on my body. Now I have a green axe. I can make another weapon and throw in my Morningstar. Warriors exclusively have 2 weapon slots that they can switch between. It's one of the class specialties of a warrior. Like I said, each class has something a little bit special with them as far as even equipment goes. But everything else here is just other gear that you can put on. The main the main reason that you want to upgrade your gear from at least this junk as fast as you can is because every piece of gear after junk comes with a specific skill attached to it. So these Bull Rush Horns comes with Enraging Charge, which when hitting an enemy with charge, it grants you a small amount of rage. So it's essentially an additional skill to your character outside of his actual skills. And the Executioner Plates as well has another perk. So every single piece of gear in the game is unique for your class, and it does a different thing. And the biggest jump in power level in the game is from junk gear into white gear, just because you get all of this extra bonus skills to make a build. It's like an additional way to make a build outside of selecting your skills themselves, which we'll go over now. All right, so speaking of skills, every class has 3 different sets of skills. The first one's going to be your weapon skill. The weapon skill is dependent on what weapon you currently have equipped. As you can see, the warrior looks like it has 2 of them because not only do I have an axe equipped, I also have a mace equipped. So if I had a Death Ball, which is another warrior weapon, I would have a different skill here. So the weapon skills are always changing depending on what weapon you have equipped at the time. You have a 1 skill, which some classes have 3 of these, some classes only have 2. And each one, you can go through and unlock them as you level. As a level 1 warrior, you get both of these options at level 1. So you can go through and see which one of these works with the gear that you select and kind of start making a build from there. As you can see here on the second one, we have Rampage, and then we have Locked Battle Frenzy and Locked Raging Shout. You can see down here where you unlock them, and by leveling up your character, you'll unlock more of these skills until they're all unlocked. So basic skill overview is level up your character until the highest one, figure out what kind of build you like to run, match your gear with the skills that you're using, and then you're good to go. The other thing that you get when you level up is traits. So these traits for every single class are always maxed. You don't have to make too many crazy decisions here. Once you get your character to level 20, you will have the ability to unlock every single one of these. So if you think you messed up on them, you didn't. You just level up more, and then you can unlock the next one that you were really looking at. Take a couple minutes to look through them and what makes sense to you as far as what your build is. Again, this isn't a build guide. This is a understanding guide of what you should be doing. Leveling up your character to 20 unlocks all of them. You didn't mess up if you clicked the wrong one and locked it in. I promise you. As far as gearing up, now that we know how to make skills match our gear as well as our traits, there's a couple other things that you should know about Legacy that will help you a bunch. First thing is your weapon harness. So weapon harnesses are things that you can put class tool specifics in. So for a warrior, and this is why upgrading your crafting bench was so important, you can go down and craft war horns or heavy spears. And once you craft them, you can come back into your inventory and you can equip them. And these have specific button slots in the game that you can adjust through your options and such. These are not lost on death. So if you have the resources to make them, always make sure that these are filled up. Every single item has a use in the game for your class that is important. Warhorns give you rage. Spears are your really only defense against super ranged targets. It literally lets you throw a spear. You do not lose them when you die. They are very important to keep maxed out. You can upgrade your weapon harness itself with your tailorer as you level up your reputation with all of those. The other thing is your tool belt. Your tool belt is the only place that you can put meds and bandages. Meds obviously raise your health. If you're low on health, you drink a potion, it raises your health. A bandage removes wound. Wound in the game is any damage that you take over a period of time will start giving you a gray bar. That gray bar can only be removed from bandages. Bandages also have higher tiers. The higher tier the bandage, the more wound it removes. It is the only place that you can put meds is on this tool belt. You can upgrade your tool belt to add more slots. There's a bunch of potions in the game that will allow you to do different things, interact with. Again, that's a more in-depth guide, but the important thing to know, tool belt's the only place that you can put your meds. Make sure you have meds going into raid. It is one of the factors that forces you out of a raid sooner rather than later, is not having enough meds to keep your health alive. As I mentioned before, mobs in this game can be difficult, and they're very hard to learn, and when learning them, you're going to take damage and you're going to get hit. This helps mediate some of that damage, as well as in PvP fights. You're going to need to heal sometimes. It's very good for that. These are lost on death. Any tool belt above junk is lost on death as well. The minute you die, you will reset with 6 minor health potions and 6 tattered bandages. So you don't have to waste money. They give you a courtesy, you're dead kit. You'll always get a weapon. You'll always get 2 pieces of junk gear. You'll always get a worn tool belt, as well as minor healing potions and a tattered bandage. So you're never up a creek without a paddle. You'll be good to go. And then the last thing, and this is also an important one, is your hidden bag. So this slot down here is called your soul pouch. There's a lot of different types of bags that you'll get in the game that look exactly like this, but will be different colored, that you can put here. This is just like in Tarkov. Anything you put in this bag will stay with you when you die. So if you're in a raid and you have all these pretty flowers and you want to keep them, you put them in your bag and then you won't lose them. There's a ton of different bags that you can get from your tailorer as you level her up that you can craft that'll give you different things. The alchemy pouch lets you hold herbs and potions that you find in the raid. The mining bag, it's your stone, your ore. Tailoring, all of your leather and cloth. Treasure, there's glint in the game, which is another currency that you use for one of the traders. You can buy this, and the woodsman, the chef satchel, all of those things you can slot in here and put their specific items in there, and then you can keep them on death. So even if you go in and die a lot, you can still make micro progressions to your account. It's never a total loss if you go into it with an idea and a goal in mind when you want to come out, which again, and I reiterate the important parts, your very beginning goals are going to upgrade your storage chest and upgrade your crafting bench as much as you can. If you get the items to upgrade the other things, it's worth it too, specifically for your class. If you're a warrior, upgrade your forge first. If you're a wizard or a priest, upgrade your loom. If you're a rogue or a hunter, upgrade your tanner first. But the main priorities is storage room as well as crafting bench. Now, to double up on the storage and crafting bench, I forgot to mention, if you go into your crafting bench, you can actually craft higher tier chests. So this fine oak chest, I can craft, and it will go into my inventory, and I can replace some of these really bad chests you get at the beginning of the game. And I'll actually show you that now, because it actually is an upgrade, even though I didn't have it right now. Dump, dump, bring it out, boom. I'm going to ruin my inventory for this, but that's okay. So you have to empty out your inventory before you can do it, of the actual barrel that you're changing. So once you have this study barrel here, it's 56 slots. If I go to this fine oak chest, it's 64 slots. Drag it, drop it, extra slots. Now I have more room for storage. And then if you need that, you can keep it. If you don't, you delete it. And then you can just put all the items back that you had in there, and now you have more storage. Very important. Upgrade your storage. Upgrade your crafting bench. Those are important. Video. All right, another thing to note about your weapon harness is that this is also upgradable. For instance, if I go back to my tailorer, once you have a high enough level, you can go down here and you can see all the classes have their specific case, right? So mine as a warrior is a weapon harness. These are the things required to make the weapon harness. You can craft the weapon harness, and now as you can see, if I go back to my inventory, rather than being junk, now it is green. If I put it on, it gives me an extra slot, which I can now put another tool there. It is still important. Things to note, you do not lose your upgraded weapon harness when you die. This is a permanent upgrade, just like your soul pouch. So as soon as you can make a weapon harness, it is a massive upgrade to your account and the tools that you can use. So as soon as you have it unlocked, unlock it, because it does not get lost on death. All right, so that's going to conclude a very brief overview of what to expect and how to navigate through some of the more confusing things with Legacy, Steel, and Sorcery. The game is constantly being updated. I'm sure a lot of these quality of life features, like tooltips and such, will be more apparent in the game as the development continues. A couple more things that you should know when playing Legacy, as is information seems to sometimes not be so obvious. Over here, you can see the Discord, the YouTube, the dev roadmap, and the Twitter. I highly recommend clicking on the Discord and joining their Discord. There's a bunch of people, such as myself, who've been playing this game since it released in early access of Season 0 and have over 500 to 600 hours in the game. And we love this game. We're passionate about this game. We like to help people. We want the game to grow. And we're always in there. We're always willing to help. By all means, go into the Discord. Take a look. There's looking for group finders in there. There's class-specific help in there. There's a general chat. There's ticket submission for issues that you have. You can contact the devs through there. There's a ton of resources for the game through the Discord at the moment. So highly recommend coming to their Discord and getting help there. My name again is Satorix. I put this together because there's a lot of new players that are learning the game, and I feel like these are questions that I get a lot through my stream. My stream is obviously the name of my character as well as my house name. If you want to come ask me questions, I'm live every day during the week from about 9 to 5 guaranteed, sometimes on weekends, sometimes not. But I really appreciate you guys watching the video. If you got something from it and you liked it at all, give me a subscription, give me a like. Ask me questions in the comment sections. If you want to see other videos and you want something else for me to teach you, I play all of the classes. I know probably more about this game than everybody but maybe 3. So if there's something you want to know, ask. I'm happy to help. I'm always around. I'm in the Discords. Again, send me a like, send me a subscription on YouTube. It helps a lot. Show your friends if they're getting into the game. This will help them a ton, I promise, especially if it helped you. Thank you guys again. Have a good one. We'll see you the next time.